Hi all, it's Solicitor Ronald Onyango, and welcome again to my channel. Um, this week I want to talk about some of the uh, common problems which are facing migrants in the UK and how perhaps they could be able to tackle them. Um, a few examples could be things of, for instance, the buying and selling of COS license, which I mentioned before. It's been in the news today um, that the government is cracking down heavily on the unscrupulous agents and agencies who are doing this, and think there is a possibility there's going to be levied accusations or charges of modern slavery, human trafficking, and money laundering. Quite serious charges if they're sustained. And I think it's a good time to just revisit this subject again and see how perhaps the people could become aware and be more careful. Some of the COS traps include people finding themselves having been given visas or COS certificates, COS licenses to travel abroad and be in the promises of being able to get jobs. Unfortunately, when they get to the UK, those jobs don't exist. And many of them are finding themselves in very difficult situations. I would just like to suggest, counsel, or guide those who find themselves in those situations. It's very unfortunate, I understand. Um, if you're not happy with an employer, you should be aware that you are at liberty to change. You can find a different employer who can give you with another COS. I know it's not easy, but that perhaps could be one of the options you have. If you choose to stay with that employer, you got to remember that you need to comply with your terms of that COS. That includes that they have to be your primary employer, and any other employment you take is only supplementary employment, which is limited to 20 hours. But you do have other options as well. Again, there is nothing preventing you from having a secondary employer. So, depending on how many hours you want to work, so long as you can do it, you could elect to seek another employer as your secondary employer, where you can do full-time job again and do a further 20 hours if you have the time. So you'd essentially be running two full-time jobs with two supplementary hours, which is 20 hours, quite a lot of hours. It's whether you can comply and whether you can realistically be able to do that. Um, the other options as well could be to consider applying, perhaps switching from that to self sponsorship if you have got the entrepreneur skills. And I'm going to talk more into detail in this so that people can understand it, because a lot of people are wondering how does it work. I've seen some questions, people asking me when I suggested that they can consider forming companies if they've got the entrepreneurial skills and they've got a viable and a genuine business idea. What I was referring to was that you form businesses in the UK, not in your home country where you're coming from. And perhaps that's the lack of clarity which I just want to put clear. So it's important to bear that in mind, that if you want to do that, then you can consider uh, uh, something known as self-sponsorship, which essentially it still falls under the skilled worker visa, and essentially you are sponsoring yourself. And I want to emphasize this because a lot of people don't seem to really understand how it works. This essentially, and in a nutshell, means that you will form a company which you can own 100%, and the company is formed in the UK, not abroad. This is going to be your business, which you can own 100%. Now, this business is going to require to have a sponsorship license granted. And there is, of course, a very detailed process which this entails. and we can guide you through that. Of course, you've got to provide all the documentation. It's going to be a viable business, and we work with very many stakeholders who can be able to put for you a business plan based on your ideas, something that is sustainable, viable, and makes sense, and with a very good with a realistic financial model that makes sense of what you're trying to achieve. Once that is done, of course, you're going to require to have a UK director who's going to be acting as a level 1 user. And of course, you require an AO, which is an authorizing officer. Again, we can guide you those steps, on what needs to be done. Now, once that has happened, then of course you're going to move to the step of now this document is submitted on your behalf, which of course is an array of documents which you have to provide. You have to prove that you have the finance to run your business. The good thing that you need to know is that the Home Office does not put a minimum sale or a lower sale, a maximum or minimum amount of money which you require. So it's difficult to say how much money you will require. You will know better based on your business model. But this is something which can be applied across board and in any business. It is not restrictive. Whatever business hustle you may have or you want to consider to expand it in the UK on entrepreneur basis, this is a perfect opportunity because number one, it puts you in control as opposed to scenarios where we've come across where you're relying on a third-party sponsor to comply with the Home Office rules, and if they don't comply, as I've seen in many cases, their visas are revoked or suspended or cancelled. It catches up with you as well, and ultimately you're going to have to either find an alternative sponsor within 60 days or alternatively leave the country, and sometimes you have to leave immediately depending on whether you've been complicit in the breaches. So just to let you know, this is another option, and I'd just like to give you an indication of some of the businesses people can consider on this. It could be IT, digital consultancy, it could be IT software and hardware, food business, restaurant takeaways, hairdresser, barbers, barber shops, it could be accountancy, recycling business, import, export, literally anything. That is a business, a genuine business. So it's important to know, whereas this is another opportunity for those who are struggling, and I know getting health and care visas is not very easy, but if you are somebody with a genuine business interest, then this is something you should consider because it puts you in control, and of course it leads to permanent residency and ultimately British citizenship, just like most of them. You have the added advantage that you are in control of it and you're not relying on another sponsor to comply for you to remain legal in the UK. The obligation is entirely on yourself and you're in fully control of it. In terms of finances, how much money is required, again, as I said earlier, I would normally recommend to most of my clients, even though there is no minimum or maximum, but you need to demonstrate that you can you can have the funds to run your business. And I would normally say between £25,000 upwards is a good starting point. If you have more, the better. And this is something which you can do. You can of course run this business, grow it, and the beauty of it is that as you're doing this business, you will be allowed to bring in your dependents. So your dependent can also come in the country and they can take any employment. They can come into the UK and take any other employment whilst you're trying to build a business, which is the primary reason why you're in the country. Of course, you can bring your family, your children, provided that they are below the 18 years old, and they remain dependent on yourself. So in a nutshell, this is I would say quite a good option for those who are struggling to get COSs in health and care, but they've got viable business ideas and they've got the money. Rather than pay this money to agents, you might as well keep the money to yourself, invest in your own business, and grow your business. The UK offers viable and stable trading opportunity and environment for most people who are ambitious and are creative enough. I hope you can take advantage of this. If you have any questions that you wish to submit, I'll be happy to take them on board. I operate a consultancy services. If you wish to book a one-on-one chat on this, go to my bio and click on my website. You can book an appointment with myself. I'll be able to guide you further. I'll place this video and others similar ones in my YouTube. Again, please press the YouTube link to listen to more about this. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification for any other similar discussions. Thank you and bye-bye.